Hey everybody, it's your girl Key. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a Halloween set for you guys. Today we're going to be starting off with a base coat. We're going to be using Gaoy. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I may be butchering it, but I'm going to go ahead and use that to put my tips on. I already have a base coat applied to my nails, so I'm going to cure this under my lamp for about 30 seconds. I decided to choose my nail tips on camera so you guys can see the process of what I go through when I'm selecting the sizes for my fingers. Pretty much every brand that I've purchased, my sizes are pretty much the same with an exception to some. They may be off a little bit, but I pretty much know the sizes of each of my fingers. For the design I'm going to be doing today, I decided that the stiletto shape is going to be perfect for what I'm going for. I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit of shaping to make them a little pointy because I want them to be pretty sharp. These stiletto tips are pretty much curved instead of like the straight. I don't know how to say it, maybe like the triangle. It's more of a curved stiletto, if that makes any sense. So I'm not going to be shaving the sides. I just pretty much want to focus on the tip, not so much the body, I guess you would say, of the nail. Look at that. Look how fresh that is. They are so sharp and pointy. After removing the shine, I'm going to go ahead and apply my base coat before putting my polygel on. So the design that I'm going to do today, I didn't know for sure what I wanted, but I had kind of an idea of what I wanted out of this set. So it's pretty much a freestyle, if you may. So it turned out to be one of those figure it out as you go kind of situations. The thumbnail is going to be a French tip. I'm going to be using this pink by Makartt. I'll list the name of the color. Instead of hand painting the French tip, I'm going to go ahead and do it with the polygel. I assumed that it would save me time. That's the reason I decided to do it this way instead of hand painting it on. For some reason, this polygel comes out with bubbles sometimes, so I have to use the tip of my brush to remove the bubbles because I don't want it to leave that indentation or that mark once it dries. The French tip I'm doing today is going to be a V shape, not the oval or the round French tip. I wanted it to have the pointy effect because the nails are stiletto, so I just wanted to go with the shape of the nail. I thought that would be cute. So I want to know how many of you guys are going to be celebrating Halloween this year, or you have kids and you'll be taking them trick-or-treating. If you're going to be celebrating Halloween this year, why don't y'all drop a pumpkin in the comments to let me know. Also, if you're going to be celebrating Halloween by giving out candy but not going trick-or-treating, drop the candy emoji in the comments as well so I'll know that you're giving out candy this year. For the pointer finger, I'm going to be using Makartt's black, which is Boba, I believe it is. I hope I'm saying this right. Makartt, please don't be upset with me. One thing I've noticed about black polygel, no matter what brand it is, they're all pretty much translucent. They're not as opaque as the other colors. And I believe that's because it needs to, the UV light needs to be able to penetrate it to make sure that it dries all the way through. So I end up having to do multiple coats, sometimes 2, sometimes 3. It just depends on the shape of the nail, what style I'm going for. As you can see, it's pretty translucent. You can see through it. That's weird, but I understand why. So here I go. I'm going in with the second coat. And as you can see, it's already starting to thicken up and lose that see-through effect. Okay, you guys, I'm going to have to ask, please do not attack me for using so much polygel. I know it's a lot. And I hate to waste product, I really do. But it happens sometimes. And it's unfortunate, I don't have another black nail. This is the only nail that's going to have black polygel. So I can't reuse the excess polygel that I'm going to be taking off of this nail. So ultimately, it's just a waste. This middle nail is going to be one of my favorites. It's going to be the purple chrome spooky look. I'm excited to be doing this today because this is going to be my first time ever using chrome in any of my sets. Again, guys, please do not attack me for using so much polygel. I know I just wasted a big glob of the purple and I can't reuse it. But it's okay. I'm not hurting anyone. I'm just wasting product. And I have to warn you guys, for the remainder of this video, I will be wasting a lot more polygel. I don't know, it just happens sometimes. I guess trying to avoid having to do so many layers. Oh, and I forgot to mention to you guys, I don't know how I made it this far through the video without letting you guys know. And I did that in my last video as well. As far as the polygel layers, when I go into cure, I cure each layer 60 seconds. Sometimes 90, depending on how thick it is. So you want to cure the polygel layers at least a minute at a time to make sure that it cures all the way through, because anything less is not going to cure. It's not going to dry. So word of advice to you guys, don't practice my bad habits. Try not to waste as much product as I am. I don't do this all the time, but for this particular set, I don't know. I guess I already knew that it was going to take me a while to do this set, and I didn't want to do 3 layers. So I thought by me making it thicker that would save me the extra layer and the time. But ultimately, I ended up wasting more product than desired. And, you know, I'm saying it like it's funny, but it's really not, because it's a waste of money. So if you can, try to do your 2 layers with less polygel. Unless you're a person that like your nails to be really, really thick, then I understand. But I didn't intentionally plan to waste this much polygel. So as I said before, I want the thumbnail to have a pointy V shape for the French tip. So I'm going to be using my hand file to shape that pink part a little bit better. The application wasn't precise, so I had to go in with my hand file to try to make it a little bit more pointier, but it's still not as pointy as I wanted it to be, but it'll work. So I'm using my Makartt polygel brush, the other end of it, to apply the beads of the orange to the French tip. So this part, oh, I'm sorry, hold up. I got a piece of lint that was in the polygel. That annoys me. It doesn't matter how much I dust or sweep or clean up, I still tend to have so much lint. I don't know where it comes from. It's almost like it just appears out of thin air. So guys, when you're applying your polygel, you want to make sure that your brush isn't too dry. Sometimes I can oversaturate my brush with too much alcohol, but it's better to have too much alcohol than not enough. But you just want the perfect ratio. You want to make sure that your brush is damp enough so that it doesn't stick to the polygel, and also allows the polygel to slide effortlessly. You don't want so much alcohol to where it's running down your fingers, but you definitely don't want to use a dry brush where you're pulling it, because once you start to stretch it too much and too much alcohol mixes into the polygel, it'll make the polygel, how do I want to say it, it would lose its texture and becomes too slippery, and then it's going to be harder for you to direct the polygel the way you want it to go. So this nail is going to be encapsulated with clear polygel, so that when I go in to shave it, to shape it, it doesn't destroy the design that I've created. So that'll be our little protection so that we can shape this nail to be as pointy as we want it to be. As you can see, my ratio was off for this nail. That's why you see me constantly brushing to try and get this side piece to go where I need it to be. But because my brush was so dry at one point, and then I oversaturated it, so the polygel became too loose, so it's not sticking where I want it to be. So that's why you're seeing me go over this part multiple times. Once I'm satisfied with the way it looks and everything is good to go, I'm going to encapsulate with my clear polygel. I'm going to be going in with my Saviland's clear polygel, and let me tell you guys, I love this clear. Initially when you squeeze it out, it's going to look a little grainy, but after settling for a couple of seconds, it becomes very clear. This is probably one of the clearest clear polygels I have ever used. And I am so thankful that they have come out with this large size bottle, because I am so tired of those 15 milliliter polygel tubes that run out after one application. So kudos to Saviland. So I'm going in with my skinny brush. Don't laugh at me, I don't know the size of it. I got it with one of my kids, and to be honest, I plucked some of the hairs out of it because it was too thick for me, and I wanted the brush to be a little thinner, and I didn't have one readily available. So I took one that I already had and I jimmy rigged it. This nail is actually going to be a skeleton bone, and I'm not even going to cap. I struggle with this. It took me forever to do this. I think I went over this part about 5 different times, but thank God there's a such thing as editing, and I was able to remove all of my bloopers, because trust me, you guys would be laughing at me if you saw what I was coming out with initially. So all I did was I went on Google, I found a picture of a skeleton bone, and I tried to mimic what I saw. And if I was drawing with a pencil, this would be perfect because I can draw a little bit. But I gotta tell you, painting is not my thing. But I want to get better, so I'm gonna keep practicing until I do. If you guys are looking at my pinky nail and you're wondering why I didn't input the clips or the footage of me doing that nail, it's because I didn't like the way it came out. So I decided to do a candy corn nail instead of the spider nail. I ended up putting way too much bling on it and you couldn't see the nail art, so it defeated the purpose. So I just decided to remove that nail completely and do a different type of design for the pinky nail. So I'm gonna go ahead and let you guys enjoy the rest of this nail art. For the middle nail, which is my favorite nail, I'm going in with the matte coat before I do my oozy, creepy, scary chrome finish to this nail. I'm going to be using my Makartt rhinestone glue to create that oozy effect to the nail. What I'm doing is I'm just randomly placing the glue with these squiggly lines. There's no rhyme or reason to it. It's just however I feel it'll make it look more authentic. That's where I'm placing the glue. And remember, wherever the glue lands, when you rub the chrome powder in, it's going to attach itself to the glue. And also if you use a base coat, for instance, the matte coat that I used, the chrome powder is going to stick to that as well. I initially cured the glue for 15 seconds and then I went in with the chrome powder, and after I'm going to cure it again for another 30 seconds. Now for the gory part, I'm going to be creating this blood that's going to be on the ring finger with Makartt's Kiss Me Red and Beetles number 228 to make the blood look more realistic. So this set took me half of one day and partial another. As I said before, the pinky nail that's on now initially had a spider with nail art, but I didn't like the way it came out. And the ring finger always had the blood, but I wanted to add something else to this nail, and I decided to add stitches to it, which I believe gave it a different appeal, and I ended up liking that a lot more than just having the blood on it alone, but you'll see that later on in the video. I have to be honest with you guys, I'm not very good with doing the French tips or using a nail art brush for that matter. So this is very new to me. So please don't be too brutal. I actually picked up this technique from another fellow content creator who I love. Her name is Nails by Vic. Y'all should check her out. She has an awesome channel. I've learned a lot from her. Although I'm not on her level, I've still been learning some of her techniques, and it's been helping me a great deal. If you're not comfortable with doing the French tip as well, freehand, there are stencils you can purchase off of Amazon and eBay and also Etsy that'll help you if you find yourself struggling with doing your tips.
Two hours later.
Now I'm going to be going in with my blood red that I've created, and I'm just going to freestyle and let the drips fall where they may. All I can say is just have fun with it. Just do whatever you feel, or just let your hand glide the paintbrush. And once you draw the lines, well, the drips of the blood, what you want to do is you want to use your brush and pick up a little extra nail polish, if you will, and dot them at the bottom of the drips so that it can puddle, so that it can look realistic, like it's real blood dripping. I hope I explained that well enough. If you have to, go over your lines just to clean it up a little bit if you feel that it's a little sloppy or if it's not as straight as you want it to be. But remember, this is blood dripping, so blood dripping is random, so it doesn't have to be perfect. Another thing I wanted to mention to you guys is I wanted to apologize if I am going out of frame. I noticed I've done this a lot during this set. Reason being, I'm not used to the camera being this close. I've adjusted it from the way it used to be set up, and it's much closer now, so I don't have as much frame space. So sometimes I'm not even conscious of what I'm doing when I'm going out of frame because I am so focused on the artwork that I'm doing till it slips my mind. And then I regain consciousness again, and then I remember to move myself back in frame. So again, I apologize if you're unable to see some of the footage. For the thumbnail, I'll be doing a spider web, just something very simple, but I needed to add something more to this set because although I have nail art on each nail, it still feels kind of plain to me, so I wanted to make sure that every nail has something to offer. So I'm just doing a simple spider web. So I'm just making these lines in every direction before I start to make the swooping lines of the spider web. This set isn't going to have a lot of bling to it, so it won't have as much pizzazz as some of my other sets. So I just wanted to be as creative as I could so that the nails weren't too plain. It's as if I'm creating the letter V, if you will, multiple times. And I'm trying to be as straight as possible, but actually spider webs aren't perfect like they're shown on TV and cartoons. So it doesn't have to be super perfect. But I did want the lines to be pretty straight. As you can see, I kind of messed up on this line, but that's okay. I'm going to clean it up with my polygel brush and a little bit of alcohol. Black polish is a little bit hard to clean up as well as white because it's so pigmented. So as you see, I'm trying to get it as clean as possible, but it's still spreading and smearing, but I was still able to pretty much clean it up enough to correct my mistake. If I didn't mention, the red, the white, and the black polish that I'm using today is from Makartt, and the maroon color that I'm using is from Beetles. I'll list the name of the products in the description below so you guys can see exactly what I've used to create this set. Also, I wanted to apologize if the sound audio is echoing. Right now I'm currently working with the internal mic on my computer, so I don't have one externally, so the clarity isn't that great, and I do apologize, but I will be investing in a mic pretty soon. Hopefully that'll help with the sound clarity and you guys don't have to worry about the echoing in the background. So you can see me extending the tips of the spider web a little bit more, making them a little pointy. I think that gives it more of a crisp look instead of the tips being bulky. So that's what you see me doing now. And also I wanted it to cover pretty much the entire nail, since there isn't going to be any bling on this nail. If you guys made it this far in the video, I would like to say thank you for sticking around. I know it's a pretty long video. I didn't expect it to be this long, but there was a load of footage and I didn't want to leave out too much because I wanted you guys to see pretty much everything that I was doing. So again, thank you if you've made it this far, and I hope that you'll keep watching to the end to see the finished product. So I'm finishing up my spider web. I'm doing my last couple of lines, and I'm pretty impressed with the way it came out. And it didn't even take me that many attempts. This was actually my first attempt. Before I forget, I wanted to show you guys the way the pinky nail turned out on the initial set before I decided to make the candy corn. Yeah, I wasn't too happy the way it turned out, so I had to go for something different. I didn't want that to be the final look, so I decided, you know what better to do than create candy. I mean, Halloween is about trick-or-treating somewhat, and I said, let's go ahead and make a candy corn since it's so popular. So the three colors we're going to be using is yellow, orange, and white. The yellow and the two oranges that I mixed together are from the Beetles line, and the white is from Makartt. So you see me mixing the orange with the white. I'm trying to get as close to the orange of the actual candy corn as I can. So I'm mixing those colors together because the oranges that I have are either too bright or too dull. So just mixing the two oranges together with the white is going to give me the color that I'm looking for. So I'm going in with my yellow first because the spot closest to my cuticle would be the bottom of the candy corn, and the stiletto point would be the tip of the candy corn. So it's pretty much inverted. As you can see, I'm trying to take my time to get as close to the cuticle area without touching. I'm trying to prevent a lot of cleanup. I'm sorry guys, I'm out of frame right now. And as I mentioned earlier today, it was unintentional. I kept doing this and I had to keep placing myself back in frame once I realized what I was doing. So just be mindful and bear with me. I'm pretty much filling in the open space. I drew the line first because the line is going to give me a demarcation of where I want the yellow to end. I want majority of the candy corn to be orange because that's the way it is in real life. Do any of y'all like candy corn? I don't. Me personally, I don't like candy corn. I'm more of a fruity candy type of girl. So if you like candy corn, let me know in the comments. If not, comment your favorite candy. So I'm going to speed this up to let you guys watch me filling in the rest of the candy corn. So I decided to go in with a few of my rhinestones. I didn't want anything gaudy because the nail set is pretty plain, so I wanted it to remain simple. So I didn't want to overdo it. So I just decided to go in with the rhinestones where the lines meet of the candy corn, if that makes sense. So I'm using my Makartt's rhinestone glue to draw a thin line across each line where I'm going to place my rhinestones. You can use any type of nail glue that you have, and if you don't have any rhinestone glue or nail glue, you can use your top coat. That'll work just fine. I don't know how long it'll last, but you'll be able to apply your rhinestones that way if you don't have any glue. So I like to put my top coat over my rhinestone glue so that I don't have to worry about painting around the rhinestones after I place them. I do that to, I try to avoid having the clear top coat flood the rhinestones. So that's why I do it this way. And sometimes I'm a little heavy-handed with the top coat, so it floods it anyway. Comment below and let me know in what order you like to apply your rhinestone glue when you apply your rhinestones. If you apply it after your top coat or if you apply it before your top coat. I'm using my AB rhinestone, just the small ones, just to trace the line. Nothing outrageous. Just a simple line of the small AB rhinestones. I like the wax stick that I'm using. I can't remember exactly the name brand, but I will list in the description the link to where I purchased this off Amazon. I like the fact that the entire stick is made out of wax, so if the tip becomes too dull or if I run down the tip, I can sharpen it and expose more of the wax that's beneath the paper that's around it. If you decide to use this method, whereas you apply the rhinestone glue prior to adding the top coat, try not to use too much top coat. As you can see, I use too much and it's causing the rhinestones to slide because it's too wet. So just a thin coat of your favorite top coat would do just fine. Just remember not to use too much. For the tip of the candy corn closest to the point, I'm going to be using an even smaller AB rhinestone to give it that tapered look. Do you see me chasing these rhinestones because they are slipping all over the place? That's my fault for using too much top coat. I'm gonna try and organize my rhinestones once more to get them aligned the way that I need them to be. And then I'm gonna go ahead and cure it for 60 seconds. On the ring finger, as I mentioned earlier today, I wanted to add something more to the blood. So I decided to do some stitches, and I'm out of frame so you can't see me initially doing it. But all I'm doing is I'm going to trace the line around the French tip with my Makartt's black Boba polish. And then I'm going to make the little ticks to make it look like a real stitch. Forgive me for being out of frame. So this is what it's looking like, and I'm loving it already. Kind of reminds me of Chucky, you know, the Chucky doll with the stitches and the blood leaking from it. This is what it reminds me of. So you want to make little ticks. Try to get them as thin as possible. And that's all I'm doing, just making the ticks across the line that I drew. Really simple, nothing too hard. I think this added a great touch to the nail. What do you think? I'm adding a little stitch towards the top so that the top doesn't look too plain, and again, I'm out of frame. I can't apologize enough. I'm sorry, guys. And this is the final results, and I love it. I'm sorry you guys didn't get to see me apply the top coat. Like I said, this set was done over a 2-day period, so there was a lot of doing and undoing. If you made it to the end of this video, thank you guys. Please like and subscribe. Bye.